Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you guys are having a good day. I just got up and I'm working on some stuff. Today's an interesting day. We're actually going to give away $5,000 to an African-centered school. I'm going to make the announcement today later on in my podcast, which will occur today at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. On February 1st. That's the day I'm recording this. So we already picked our school. We picked a school last night that. Uh, um, that we really like. We really like what their mission is. We really like the fact that the school already exists. As y'all know, you got you got a lot of people out here building fake schools that are never going to exist. But then you got people that are building real schools that are really out here, that are really doing the work, that are really out here educating our kids. And so ultimately, I'll congratulate them in advance, but I'll congratulate them more formally later on today when we give away the money. And also the other thing that we did is we wanted to do something for all the schools. We didn't want to just help out, like one particular school. We actually decided that what we were going to do is build an entire database of, just, literally African center schools all across the country. One of the goals was to ensure that these schools are connected because we believe that you can actually develop an entire school system with what you've got. You see, a system is nothing more than a set of institutions that kind of operate with similar objectives and similar rules, right? So ultimately, with the public school system, you might have 20 schools in a district or whatever, but they all kind of operate under some sort of agreed upon umbrella. Like the NCAA is a system, but really that could just as easily be hundreds of separated universities. So one of the things that our team got together and decided to do, and it's not just me, is a lot of people. We're consulting with a lot of education experts on this, things like that, led by largely by Cheryl Irvin, who runs the New Alkebalon School down in Florida. Um, we basically realized that, wait a minute, instead of waiting for somebody to build a school, instead of sort of getting everybody caught up on the hope that somebody's going to build something that isn't ever going to exist or may not exist, why don't we just go ahead and take the schools we got and do something with those? So that's our little part in the whole initiative. If you go to teachourownchildren.com, that's teachourownchildren.com. That's pretty much where we have set up the schools, or the list of the schools. And it's pretty cool, actually. I'm really proud of it, actually. Let me show you guys the interactive map we created that'll kind of allow you to pick a school for your child. We still need more schools. So if you know of an African centered school that needs students, if you have a school or you are aware of a school that can use support from us, please have them email teachourownchildren@gmail.com. That's teachourownchildren@gmail.com. So let me show you the map. So this map is the map that Cheryl Irvine did this. This is not me. This is something that she put together, and she's also agreed to bring the educators together. We're going to have kind of a committee that's going to be designed to develop a black school system all throughout the world, actually, not just in the United States. But you can see here in California, there are some schools here, not as many as there should be. So if you are in California, you know of African Center schools in California, please email teachourownchildren@gmail.com to get in the database. Here's Texas, a lot of schools in Texas, a ton of schools in Georgia. Georgia's heavy on the map. We got a lot up here in Washington, D.C., in that area. So Northeast is heavy. Illinois is heavy. A bunch of them in my home city of Chicago. So, we're keeping it moving and, really trying to do our best to contribute to solving the problem. One of the things I've also said that I think we should do if we really want to see these schools get stronger and we really want to see our kids get educated is stop complaining. Let's stop worrying so much about what the public schools are and are not doing. The public schools have pretty much made it clear to you that they don't have that among their objectives. One of their objectives is not the education of black children. Their goal is not, let's create as many brilliant black kids as we possibly can. Their goal is to basically train your child to go work for somebody else. They're training your child to go work for a white man or work for a factory or work for a corporation. Now, that's not what I consider to be a noble objective for the black community. I believe that when we send more of our children down that chopping block, we're really sort of creating people that become part of the fuel for somebody else's economic and political engine. And you see it all over the place. You see people that will dedicate 100,000 hours, literally 100,000 hours of labor to, 100,000 hours of labor, if you value that at, say, $20 an hour, that's a $2 million contribution. So they'll make a $2 million contribution to white supremacy by giving the bulk of their time to a corporation that doesn't belong to them, a corporation that has an agenda that is not healthy for the community, etc. So my argument has been, think about yourself a little bit. Think about your own family institution. Your own family should be an institution. People in Africa my friends in Africa, not all of them, but many of them, they see their family as the first and most important institution in their lives. So, ultimately, they're not going to put more energy into another man's institution, a stranger's institution, than they put into their own institution. So what I would say to you is, think about these sorts of things when it comes to how you sort of raise your kids. I'm a big fan of getting our kids into spaces where they're loved and supported, rather than spaces where they're constantly attacked and undermined. Also, I think now is a good opportunity because the Black Panther movie's coming out. So everybody's feeling super Black, super African. So why not put your child in an African-centered school? To me, I watched BET the other day. I don't watch BET that often, but I happened to watch the Black Panther cartoon. And I think Jill Scott was in it and some other people. And I was like, this is really good. Like, this is real. This is authentic. This is like, this was actually a very good script. And now don't forget that the Black Panther concept is not owned by Black people, right? Just like A Different World, that show is not owned by Black people. In fact, they can't even use Whitley's voice. Whitley's, you know how Whitney say, Dwayne? Like, even Jasmine Guy can't even use that voice without possibly being sued for using that voice. So literally, most of what you love, most of what you've been trained to love is not really Black people. It's not yours, right? So you got to kind of keep that in mind. But I will say, though, that, I thought it was very good. And I said, okay, this is good. I mean, if we're going to be influenced by media, this is good media to be influenced by. And so in my mind, the real life versions of the Black Panther pretty much consist of people that are out here that are really, really fighting for the community. The people that have, high levels of education, that are really, truly advocating for Black people, those who have wealth that really want to use that to fight for Black people, those that have power and use that to fight for Black people, your child, those who can create jobs to fight for Black people. And one of the things I can say is that, when I look at the community, one of the challenges that we have to overcome is the fact that, we've got a lot of enemies. We got a lot of people that really don't want to see us succeed. I was talking to Dr. Anthony Browder on a flight from Guyana not too long ago. And one of the things Dr. Browder brought up to me that was really interesting, he was bringing up some instigators in the community, like a lot of the Facebook trolls who have fake profiles and stuff like that. And I see them all the time on my page, especially, given like recent controversies that people have thrown toward me, even though I didn't have anything to do with them. And it's interesting, like one of the things that he said is that in the community, he said in the 70s and 80s, he said, we had a lot of momentum. He said, we really had some stuff that was really working, programs that were really getting things done. And he said, basically what they did that we didn't realize at the time is they put people in the community just to cause chaos, just to get us to not trust each other, just to get us to be confused, just to get us fighting with each other. And so he kind of schooled me on that and said, some of the people in the Black community that are, that are really out here just hating and attacking and ain't really doing nothing. They're not, no, pay attention. A lot of the people that do the most attacking really haven't done anything. They haven't developed anything. They haven't educated a child. They haven't built a business. They haven't created a job. They haven't done anything productive. They're only there to destroy. And so he said that's part of, it sounded very COINTELPRO, it sounded very conspiratorial, but Dr. Anthony Browder, if you know anything about him, he's a very smart dude, one of the smartest Black men that I've ever seen, and a really good guy. And he really got me thinking about that. It made me sort of think about, just some of the enemies and the challenges that we have in the community. I've never had an issue with anybody who might disagree or something that I say. I think that's fine. But I think that where you have to kind of ask yourself is, if somebody says, okay, it's one thing if I say, let's say you go build a house for the family. Let's say the family ain't got nowhere to live and you go build a house. And I come in and I say, that house ain't shit. That wood, that's cheap ass wood. You know, you built it too quick and your foundation ain't right. And you need to just tear it down, right? And so they tear it down and everybody's cold and homeless again. But then you turn to them, you say, okay, well, you tore down the house that we had. Do you have a better house? And they don't have anything to say. So there's a lot of people who know how to destroy things but don't know how to really build anything, right? They haven't built anything. They can't say that they benefited any black person other than themselves. And I take issue with that, because I can show a track record where I have probably 10,000 testimonials of people that can say my life is different because of something Boyce did, or I'm educating my children differently because of something Boyce did, or I have a job, I can pay my rent every month because of something that Boyce did. And it's not just me. It's not really just me, though. It's really me with a coalition of people. There's like 30 people that work on our team. We have a corporation. We're not a one person show. So ultimately, what I would say is, in terms of addressing anything head on, that I've kind of been seeing, because I kind of watch the chatter, and actually I find it an honor, like if a grown person that really should be doing something productive is taking their time to like come and like troll your page. It kind of makes me say, that's interesting. That motherfucker ain't got nothing to do. Like, he must not have shit going on in his life. He ain't accomplishing shit because he's sitting on the internet trolling, or he's an agent, or he's working for the government. I mean, a lot of, again, there's been documented proof that fake Facebook profiles are created all the time just for the sake of creating instigation and chaos and stuff like that. So don't think that hasn't happened before. It's happened before. It could be happening now. I don't know. But either way, whether I pay attention to you, whether I respect you, as a worthy adversary in turn, or not even adversary, as a worthy contributor to the debate, is I look and I say, well, what have you done? What have you built? Like, show me that you built something better, and shit, I'll support that. Like, so if somebody says, well, Boyce, you guys, your plan for the school system is all wrong. Here's a better way to do it. Here's something better that I've done. That I've created a school in Oakland, and it's a better school, and it's got a better model. And then I'll be like, well, then let's partner, let's work together. But if you say your model sucks, then that makes you kind of like a child. Like, a child is a person who can tell you what's wrong with what you did, but they can't tell you how to do it better, which means that they don't understand the depth of focus it takes to get even basic things done. So anyway, now let's see. Andre says, while I believe in what you do to an extent, not everyone who criticizes you is working for COINTELPRO. That's a very Umar-ish statement. No, I never said everybody who criticizes me works for COINTELPRO. I said some of them do. I've also said that there's evidence that COINTELPRO energy can be put behind something like that. But at the same time, if somebody has a criticism, the determining factor as to whether or not you're going to be respected by the people that are in this space is whether or not you have facts and logic to back up what you're saying, and if you show a better model. If you can't show a better model, then you really don't have a leg to stand on. Somebody keeps talking about the smoke detector. I know. Please don't keep mentioning the smoke detector. I know the smoke detector is there. Let me see. I'm gonna look at some of the questions and comments. So when I think about the enemies of the Black community, the people that kind of stick to the top of the list, first and foremost, are the white supremacists in both the Democratic and Republican parties. I think the Republicans manipulate you and harm you, by very overt racist tactics. The Democrats harm you because they just lie to you. The Democrats, they feed off of fear, they feed off of a false hope. It's okay to talk about hope as long as you really got something that's real behind the hope. Like if I get you to hope that tomorrow I'm gonna take you to the movies, then if I take you to the movies, then that was not false hope. That was actual hope for something that actually became real. So I do give you hope in the sense that I want you to visualize what I'm talking about with the development of the school system. I don't want you, when it comes to supporting these schools, I don't want you to give the money to me. I want you to give the money to the schools. And I'll be the first one to step out here and write a check. I'm going to write a check for $5,000 today to an African-centered school that we selected and we're going to write more checks. We're also going to invite all of the founders of these schools to come onto our platform and do an interview. So again, you know, as I look at some of the questions and I answer your questions directly, um, I invite anybody who has something critical to say about anything that we've done. Show me what the fuck you're doing that's better. Like, show me something better. Show me a better school system. I'll give money to you too. Like, show me something better. If you can't show me something better, then you haven't done anything. And unfortunately, the problem that you have, you know, in the Black community a lot of times is a lot of times people can go build a whole career off of sounding good. They can build a whole career off of talking. And if you really are an intelligent enough person to analyze and dissect what that person just said, what you'll do is you'll say, well, shit, I mean, I've been listening to you for 3 hours and you got my heart racing and you got me jumping up and down, but you didn't actually follow through with anything. Like, there's nothing that's going to change in my life as a result of me listening to you. You've only pointed out problems, but you haven't shown a capacity to solve them. You know, it's again, like anybody can destroy, anybody can point out that something isn't right. Like, I don't need to be a carpenter to tell you that my house is falling down, that the foundation's bad, or that the roof is caving in. But I do need to be a carpenter to know how to fix it, right? So ultimately, we got to separate and figure out in our community, you know, who are the carpenters and who are the yappers, right? Are you a carpenter or are you a yapper? Can you build something, or can you just talk about what's built and what didn't get built and what's wrong with what somebody else built, right? And so that's probably one of the things I would kind of speak on, you know, directly, because one of the things that's really interesting is that, you know, when you do stuff like this, you kind of know that at some point you're gonna get criticized, not by white people but by Black people. You kind of know at some point some Black person's gonna get jealous or nasty or angry or hateful or whatever, and try their best to do whatever, right? And I've always told y'all that I ain't perfect. I am not a messiah. I am not a Black leader. I am just a scholar who is trying to do his best for his people. I'm a Black man with a PhD. My PhD is real. Go Google it, please. Go look it up if you want to. And my goal is to contribute to the best of my ability by developing protocols and systems and organizational structures and institutional frameworks that will allow the community to prosper over the next 200 to 300 years. And I will say that as a result, you know, we built a great company that has a lot of people that we take care of, a lot of Black people. We have a couple people on the team who are not Black. You'll probably know one of them, the infamous Charles Wu, who made that video, which I thought was just ridiculous. You know, I didn't like it at all. We brought, if you want to know the history of that, and if you don't know about it, go Google it, please. There's the Charles Wu controversy. So basically, Charles Wu was a guy that we brought in as one of our digital marketing experts. You know, if you ever see like stuff that we do online, and you should know this for your business, if you really want to promote your business, use social media to promote it. That's a great way to do it. So for many years, we didn't make a profit at all because a lot of our money was pumped back into spreading the message of Black economic empowerment. And if you follow my track record, you know, I've been doing this for 10 years, literally many, many years before I even met Charles. Now, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but I will say that even when your friend does some retarded shit, you got to call it out. You got to say, dude, what are you talking about? Right? So Charles did a video that was easily misconstrued where he basically says, you know, he talks as if somehow, you know, my emotional cues make it easier to sell a product. Now, the reason I took issue with that is that if you watch the 5,000 videos I've done, you'll know my emotion is not, I mean, it's hard to fake 5,000 videos. It's hard to pretend for a decade that you are passionate for Black people. And even if I was pretending, which I wasn't, but even if I was, you could also check the track record, right? You can check to see, well, how many Black people have benefited from what Boyce has done? How many Black people are paying their bills because of things that Boyce has put in place? How many things have actually come out of the talking? Because I don't just talk, we do. That's what we do. That's why I don't talk on the phone to celebrities and waste my time just sitting around doing nothing. Like I can't sit or I don't go to parties, you know, and all that stuff as much as everybody else because I'm working, I'm building things. So long story short, you know, I saw this video and I was like, I was like, okay, I understand you're happy and you're proud that you got, people to want to participate in some of the things that we offer. We offer about 50 different initiatives and products and things like that. But, number one, like you shouldn't use my name unless I allow you to. And then two, you gave the wrong impression. You're giving this impression that an Asian dude is telling a black person what to do in a space that is very powerfully and authentically black. Now, if you want to know my official position and the official, everything, the vast majority of our company is black. We have a couple people we partner with. In fact, every single person that we pay on a regular basis is black that I can think of. I think we had even Afro Latino. We had an Afro Latino person, so that's black too. Charles was a partner for a limited project, and it wasn't like he's a member of the team, not a permanent person around, anything like that. But he's a smart dude, that knows what he does as far as marketing. But I don't think that he understood that this stuff, this Black economic empowerment stuff, it's like a religion to me. It's very sacred. So it's like, so if you want to know how our conversation kind of went, it was like, dude, like don't ever disrespect the house that Black people live in. Do not ever do that. Do not ever come into this house and walk on the carpet with muddy shoes. And I think he understood that, but I think at the same time, that some of the criticism that I got from it was valid. I mean, if somebody uses your name, even though I didn't have anything to do with any of that, I wasn't in the video, right? But I saw it and I said this was not a good look. And so I would say that if you want to know more deeply, like what he was actually trying to say, you could ask him. He's always doing stuff on the internet. He's actually a person that you could really learn from in the sense of, what he's accomplished. He's very smart, but at the same time, I think it was a tough conversation about just respecting the sanctity of what we built and what we own. And one of the rules I've always stood by, and I've never deviated from this rule, is that everything we own, all that we build is 100% Black owned. Now, we've partnered with people outside of the community on things that they built, maybe affiliate type things, but with the Black Business School, all that 100% Black owned. The other thing too is that my rule has always been that I don't discriminate. I don't carry hate in my heart. I'm not going to tell somebody that because you're not Black, that you can't come into the Black Business School, or because you're not Black, that you can't, that I can't work with you. That's not smart economics. Smart economics means that you position yourself so you can engage in trade with the rest of the world. You don't isolate yourself, because then you become like North Korea. And North Korea, their whole economy is garbage. So ultimately, the bottom line for me at the end of the day has been, though, that if you come into our house, then you must understand that the number one reason that we exist, the top reason that we exist, our reason for living, the thing that we would take 10 bullets over, is our love and support for the Black community and building for the Black community. That is what we believe in. I will fight you over that. At the end of the day, unfortunately, in the community, there are Black people, like you got the Yvette Carnells, again, who are very quick to tell you doom and gloom, nonsense about, and I'm not afraid to say Yvette's name because I built Yvette. I built her whole platform. Breaking Brown was supported by what I did for many, many years. I gave her tens of thousands of dollars to help her out because she struggles financially. She always has. And I found it interesting that, that someone would say something about white capitalism when, last time I checked, her girlfriend was white, the significant other, her partner, whatever that person is called, so my thought was that, I didn't understand. I was honestly a little bit saddened and hurt that somebody that you did so much for, that wouldn't even have a platform if it wasn't for you, would feel so much venom towards you. I just never got it, And if you want to see what she has to say, feel free to go look her up. I'm not going to not mention her name just because I don't want to help her platform. I want to see everybody do well. If that's what you believe in, that's fine. But the area where we divide, where we parted ways, the relationship was kind of tested when she attacked Louis Farrakhan. When you use and then she used my YouTube channel to do it. She didn't do it on her YouTube channel. She did it on my YouTube channel. And my feeling was, like, why would you use my YouTube channel? I love Farrakhan, and I let you use my channel, even though people paid thousands of dollars to use my YouTube channel. I let her use it for free because I supported and respected her. I said, well, look, you don't agree with me, but I respect the voices of Black women. And I respect the idea of people making their own decision as to what they want to believe in. I'm not here to be a demigod. I've never wanted to tell people what to think. I've only told you to think for yourself. Make your own decision. Don't pay attention to this bullshit about black leaders. Ain't none of us no leaders. None of us are leaders. You should ultimately be thinking for yourself. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't get that memo. They're just not, I guess their intelligence level isn't high enough to really realize the importance of critical thinking. So anyway, so I was like, why would you use my YouTube channel to disrespect the man that I admire more than anybody else on this earth? Why would you go on my YouTube channel, and attack Louis Farrakhan? I got brothers from the Nation of Islam that love me. I love them. I go anywhere in the globe. If I go anywhere on the planet and I see a brother with a bow tie, or a brother from the nation, I instantly know that they have love for me. I instantly know. I don't even have to say, hi, my name is Boyce. I walk up and they're like, hey, Dr. Watkins, because I've been in the final call countless times. I've sat with the minister many times. So I remember just saying, I don't understand why you did that, but I'm going to respect your right to freedom of speech. But you got to respect the fact that they're going to have a reason and a right to retaliate, and respond to you. So the brothers of the nation, they didn't hurt her. They didn't threaten to beat her up or anything, but they did want to debate her. And I'll tell you that, the interesting thing about the debate was she was scared to debate the Nation of Islam. She wouldn't debate them. I said, well, I got a brother from the nation, a brother out of California, a young guy, Sharp, Saeed, I think it might have been his name. He said, I'd like to come on and defend the Nation of Islam and give the other point of view. And so I called up Yvette and I said, hey, Yvette, they want to debate you, why don't we have a debate? I'll come down here and I'll moderate and we just get it in. You say your piece, they say their piece, and we'll just see what people think. And she refused to do it. She was scared to do it. So my thought was, you can't attack somebody and then be scared to defend your position. You can't attack and then get mad and feel victimized. Like almost like worse than the Me Too thing, where it's like, oh, they're scaring me, they're upsetting me because they're being so mean to me. I'm like, well, what do you think is going to happen when you disrespectfully, not just politely and respectfully critique Farrakhan? That's one thing, but when you just talk about him like he's just a nigga on the street, then what do you think is going to happen? They're going to, So I sat with Minister Farrakhan and I met with him over this, and I told him, I said, look, I don't agree with what she said, but my policy is freedom of speech, and that's what I stick by. I think that's the right thing to do, and it's her right as a woman to speak and say what she wants. And he said, I agree with you. He said, in fact, tell her to keep speaking. And I was surprised he said that, but he said she has a right to say what she would like to say. And that was it. It was a very respectful dialogue, very mature, much more mature than I could say that she was. And I think that, this sort of venomous, like, I hate black men, I want to chop their balls off, kind of thing. That's what unfortunately, that's what you kind of get from a lot of white liberals. White liberals do not respect black men. White liberals kind of look at black men like we're the scum of the earth, like we're worthless. They'll look at a guy like Farrakhan and won't give any credit to what this man has accomplished throughout his life. When Farrakhan spoke at Cal State Long Beach, and I was there in the crowd, on the stage with him, I remember being really offended by the fact that all these black gay students decided that they wanted to protest his speech by standing up and walking out in the middle of his speech. And white folks put you up to this, and so a lot of times, when I see that language that comes from that very leftist, very communist mindset, it is very destructive toward black people. It is very hateful toward black men. It's very unproductive for black people in general. And I'll tell you this point blank, like the big reason that for the major part of the divide, and there was the business thing where I put a lot of money into a movie, and she kind of did, I felt a little bit hurt. I'll say that, because I put a lot of money into a project we were working on, and something went wrong with that. And of course, again, it really kind of reminded me that a lot of times your friends, the people you think are your friends, they ain't looking out for you. And I don't regret being nice to people because I'm a nice person. I like helping people. I like being a nice person. I don't want to be an asshole, but I can just think of a couple of times where I'm kind of like, why would you do this? Like, it's one thing if if somebody hurts you and, steals from you and then you hate them. But if somebody has helped you and you're upset or you disagree with them, I don't think that attacking is always, it always makes sense. So anyway, long story short, the big part of the divide was already occurring, I think, over time, because I'm not into communist, leftist, you know, socialist thinking. That's not going to help Black people. You have a lot of people that are that were influenced heavily, like in the civil rights movement. It started with civil rights and before, where the communists saw the civil rights movement as their chance to have influence in America by connecting with the by basically connecting with the Dr. Kings and everybody else. They were like, look, we'll hook you up, we'll give you money, we'll pay for you to fly Black leaders out to a retreat so that all of you can have a big meeting. So they kind of ended up going in that direction. So a lot of people in the Black community are straight up socialist communists. And I'm not saying that that's always a bad thing. There's some good elements to socialism. There's some good elements to communism, but there's also some good elements to free enterprise and a little bit of capitalism. I'm not a hardcore capitalist. Capitalism, unfortunately, if it's practiced, and I know capitalism very well because remember my PhD's in finance, so I've studied this extensively. Capitalism is a type of greed that you really don't want to have in any economy. Capitalism will destroy an economic system. It's almost like steroids, or revving the engine of your car up to 1,000 miles an hour. At first, you're going to go really fast, but then eventually you'll either crash into a tree or your car will break down. So I've never been a fan of capitalism, per se at all, really. What I'm a fan of is free enterprise, though. I'm a fan of economic productivity. Because here's what happens with socialist economies. Has anybody seen what's going on in Venezuela right now? Hey, do you know what's going on in Venezuela? Venezuela was a country that used to say, oh, we're socialists, we're showing that socialism works. Well, no, that's bullshit, because in Venezuela, the people are starving in Venezuela. You go to the bank and you try to get $1 out, you're gonna be waiting 4 hours and you still won't even get your dollar. Literally $1. I'm not talking about $100 or 1,000, I'm talking about $1. And so that's because the people running the economy had no respect for free enterprise. They had no respect for business development. They had no respect for job creation. And that's what kills you as a community. You have a lot of enemies in the Black community who will preach a socialist communist mentality that money doesn't matter, and every Black business owner must be a crook, and Black business owners should give everything away for free. Like, I've had people tell us that, like you should do your Black business school, y'all should just be giving it all away for free if you want to educate the people. And I'm like, well, number one, you can sign up for free. I mean, in case you didn't know it, most of our students are free. These videos I do are totally free. But I said, how somebody supposed to run a fucking business if you can't make $1? Like, how am I going to create jobs for Black people so they can get off the plantation if you trying to kill our whole bottom line? Like again, that idea of being able to destroy what you're building but not providing a better alternative, that's the fundamental issue. Most of these motherfuckers running around here talking about Black businesses are bad and you're a capitalist vulture. They living in their mama's basements. They can't even afford to buy a car made in the year 2012. They can't, they can't afford to create a job even for themselves, let alone for other people. So while we speak the rah-rah of, capitalist vultures and all that, somebody's got to create a job. Somebody's got to pay the bills. Every revolution comes with a tab. Every revolution needs somebody to be able to write a check. And the problem that you're struggling with as Black people is that you ain't got nobody in the community that knows how to write a damn check. So when these socialist communist types, Yvette and all her friends, when they come along and get a check written, let me tell you who writes that motherfucking check. It's people like fucking George Soros. George Soros comes along and says, oh yeah, Black Lives Matter. Let's create a movement called Black Lives Matter. I'll write the check. You can trust me. I'm a white man, but I care about what you believe in. I'm a communist too, and I'll write a check. Or whatever, not a communist. I know he's not a communist. I'm just being stupid. But he writes the check, and next thing you know, your movements don't belong to you. You can't really do anything that's really truly yours. Black Lives Matter is not a movement that was created by Black people. Black Lives Matter was a movement that used Black people to support a very LGBT broken family, hate the black man kind of ideology. The only thing that they stood with black men on was the police shootings. Outside of that, they hate everything that even resembles the idea of a black man leading a household. They hate everything that even resembles the idea of a black man being strong. They hate everything that even resembles the idea of black families staying together. They hate all of that. So if you, in fact, if you go to the website, blacklivesmatter.com, I dare you to go to that website and find the words black father anywhere. I don't even know if you're going to see the words black man. That part I'm not sure. That part I got to double check. But because black men can be gay and feminized too, right? But I guarantee you, there's nothing there about black fathers and black families. But they're all about the single mama culture. No disrespect to single moms, but I imagine you guys would agree that your families would be stronger if you had some help. So why wouldn't you want to raise your daughters to aim to create an environment where she can have help, as opposed to somehow convincing her that being a single mom is identically empowering to being a mom that actually has some support? I don't believe that. I don't teach my daughters that it's great to be a single mom. I tell them it's hell to be a single mom. I tell them single moms are the greatest heroes in the community for a multitude of reasons. But my God, like, who would want to sign up for that? That dude that you had that baby with ain't paying no bills, ain't helping with nothing, and you up here just trying to be superhero every day. And that's hard to do. That's stressful, right? So I personally think that when you look at the kind of influences that come into the community, a lot of these influences are designed to put us back in a plantation. So here's my position on a lot of stuff. Let me see here. Here's my position on a lot of this stuff. If you really kind of break it down and you really talk about, critiquing what's out here, right? Like, I've had people critique me. I've had it my whole life, I've always been ready for that kind of stuff, because I told you guys, I'm not a black leader. I am not a guy that's trying to be another Al Sharpton. I'm not going to replace an Al Sharpton with another Al Sharpton. I don't even have enough hair to grow a perm. But what I would say is that a couple of things. One, if you criticize something, I tell this to people in my company, if you criticize an idea, bring forth a better idea and bring forth the ability to execute that idea. That is what I would call intellectual maturity. Don't be a child. Don't just throw rocks at an idea as what somebody else is doing when you ain't built nothing better. If you say, well, I don't like that company, then you got to say, well, how many jobs am I going to create for the people that are going to get fired because I'm out here running my mouth, right? How many other opportunities can I create? If I don't like his idea for the school system, okay, now show me a school system that you're building, that you're developing, that is going to do something better than this idea. I don't have an emotional stake in anything other than the strength of the Black community. I don't have an emotional stake in my ego and pride or what people think about me. That's fine. I spend every day of my life preparing for my death. The reason I document so many of my ideas is because I'm not really thinking about 2018. I'm thinking about the kids that I want to be watching my videos in the year 2118, in the year 2078. That's what I'm thinking about. So it ain't about me. I've always known that you can't have a movement, a sustained movement that's built on people believing in one person. So if people don't believe in me, if someone doesn't believe in me, that's okay to not believe in me. I've told you for many years, don't put all your faith in me. Don't do anything just because you believe in me. What I have always said is, think about what's going to work for the community. Believe in yourself. And also, if someone kills off a plan that we have in place, show me a better plan. But don't just show me a better plan. Show me the ability to execute that plan. Show me resources that are put behind this plan. Because I'm going to tell you, a lot of the people that's doing most of the talking on YouTube and stuff like that, they're so broke that they're begging for donations on their YouTube channel. They're getting $100 a week on their YouTube channel so they can afford to buy food while they living in their mama's basement. That's not somebody that can really help propel the Black community where we need to go. So that's my challenge to anybody who doesn't, like what's going on, or who has something to say, it's like, okay, do something better. I dare you, do something better. If you can't do something better, then you're just talking. You're just farting in the wind, and you farting in your own mouth. Ain't nobody listening to you for real. Let me look at I'll look at some of your comments. You don't have to try to be a leader, Boyce. You just are. Well, I appreciate it, Eric. Thank you, but I'm really not a. I don't want to be a leader. The reason I didn't want to be a black leader also is because of, things like this, right? Like what happens is, like if you look at Bill Cosby, for example, he set himself up, to be knocked off the perch because Bill Cosby was always very self-righteous. He always pretended to be a goody two shoes. He wanted the world to think he was perfect. Tiger Woods did the same thing. And what happens is that when you position yourself that way, people are looking for any little thing to find to chink into your armor, right? So I've always tried to, let people know it doesn't work. If people want to see you as a messiah, they're just going to do it anyway. But I've let people know, like, look, I'm not a perfect dude. Like, I'm just a guy who's doing his best. I'm just a scholar. I got a PhD. It's a real PhD. I know economics. A lot of people. That's why I don't really get offended if somebody questions my ideas. If you critique my ideas and you're smarter, like, or meaning that you've got more education in this area, then that's fine. But if not, it's like if I go to my heart surgeon and say, you're doing the surgery all wrong, he's going to look at me like, well, how many years of medical school did you do? Right. So again, that's another issue. Another thing I challenge you to kind of consider is that a lot of people who critique Black economic development know nothing about Black economic development. Most people who critique Black economic empowerment have done nothing to economically empower any Black person ever. They can't even empower themselves. you know. And one of the things I teach my students in my stock market class, as well as when I'm teaching them about building businesses, is that the best way to learn is to learn from people who've actually done it. So when you start your company, when you try to build whatever you're doing, learn from people who've done it. And I'm gonna tell you, when you start building your company, you're gonna get criticism from family members and friends, you know, who don't know what they're talking about, but they feel comfortable telling you everything that's wrong with what you're doing, And I'm just kind of like, you have no credibility, right? So let me look at some of the comments. Let's see. Walad says free enterprise. Yes, I can appreciate Dr. Boyce regardless if I'm cursing. Yeah, I can't. I tried not to cuss. I tried to stop cussing, but it didn't work. Like and I did a survey. I don't know if you guys saw the results of the survey. I surveyed you guys to say, how do you feel about me cussing? And believe it or not, let me see if I can pull up the results. Believe it or not, the majority of people actually said, a large percentage, the largest percentage out of all groups said actually that they like it more. They like my podcast more when I cuss, which means that y'all some sick motherfuckers. Y'all as fucked up as I am. But let me see. I'm gonna do a screen share right quick so you guys can kind of see the results of the survey. So this is pseudo-scientific analysis. We actually took a survey. We got 365 respondents, which is enough based on, again, my master's was in statistics. So we have enough to do a statistical inference. How do you feel when Dr. Boyce cusses in a video? So 44% of you, 43.9% said, it makes me enjoy the conversation more. And 33% said that they were indifferent. So I added up 44 plus 33, which is 77. I mean, 77%, the majority of you felt that me cussing either made the podcast better, which is the green, or it actually just pretty much you're indifferent to it. Like you're not sort of offended by it, you don't care. Now there's that 21% that says it makes you enjoy the podcast less. And to those of you who are in this group, I just want to say, if it makes you feel better, I can say I'm sorrier than a motherfucker if I offended you, and I hope I didn't hurt your motherfucking feelings by cussing so damn much. I'm playing. That was just rude. That was just evil. See, sometimes that pettiness comes out, and that's just mean to me. I'm kidding. Actually, in all seriousness though, if you want to know my cussing rule, I do not cuss when I teach. That's just a rule I've always abided by. I've always felt that when you're just talking in casual conversation, like right now we're having a casual discussion, I think that the language in a casual discussion can be different from the language in a formal discussion. So when I am your teacher, when I am your professor, then I do not cuss when I'm teaching, when I'm doing my job as a faculty member in the Black Business School. Now here's another interesting part of the survey. Let me just share this with you. What topics do you enjoy the most when Dr. Watkins speaks? And I've heard people say, Doc, just stick to finances. Only talk about money. And I was like, but I don't want to just talk about money. I want to talk about Black people. So, but it doesn't matter what I think. What matters is what you think. So what I did was I did this part of the survey and I asked, so basically 12% of you, which is the green line, said, I only want to hear him talk about money. So for people like that, what I encourage you to do is go join theblackbusinessschool.com, theblackbusinessschool.com. You can join for free. So don't let these communist socialists tell you, oh, Dr. Watkins he only wants you to join if you got money. No, the vast majority of our students don't pay a penny. So I want you to just, if you are good with what we're talking about here, and you hear people say, oh, he's trying to like rip people off, whatever. No. Just know that the vast majority of the people in the Black Business School are actually not paying a penny. And you can join right now for free. It won't cost you a thing. Now, if you want to join a premium program, the cost of most of the programs is less than $100 a month. If you go to a university where they got professors with fewer credentials than we have teaching you, they're going to charge you $5,000, $10,000 a class. We charge less than $100 a month. And also we do consistent customer surveys to make sure that we never have you pay for anything that you're not happy that you paid for. If you are unhappy, we have a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. Customer service is our top priority. We have our customer service team is the biggest team in our company. I want to say we have like 7 people who do nothing but respond to customer feedback all day, who do nothing but cater to customers. So when people come in and they say, I'm not happy with what I got, I want my money back, we give a refund, pretty much instantly. So the idea is not, and this is important to say. So here we go. Let me finish the survey, then I'll finish my point. But basically about 12% of you said, I only want to hear him talk about finances. So join the Black Business School, and that's pretty much where I talk about money all the time. The vast majority have, or not the majority, but the largest percentage have said, I enjoy hearing him speak on any topic that relates to the Black community. And then 36% of you said, I'm fine with whatever he talks about, right? So if you add up those two categories, 49.8, 36, that's about 86%. So 86%, the vast majority of the respondents said that they would actually like for me to talk about whatever is, going on in Black America. So that's how, if you want to know why, we chose a certain direction, that's why. We're big on customer feedback. And that's what I would tell anybody that wants to start a business. The most important thing about starting a business is you really have to care about your customer. You really have to care about giving them what they want. And so, just kind of going back to, the whole Charles Wu controversy. I can't really speak on what another grown man says. I told you, I talked to Charles about it, and I was like, this is not consistent with the way we operate. So please don't do anything like this. And also remember, Charles is one of 30 team members, or 25 to 30. I can't remember the number of team members we have and partners that we have, things like that. He's not even really a team member. He's a partner that we work with on a limited basis. But of course, people that hate you, they're gonna find any connection. Like if I once shook the hand of somebody who raped somebody, they're gonna say Dr. Boyce loves to shake hands with rapists, right? So you're gonna have people that are gonna try to make these stretchy connections. But it's fine. If you want to critique it, then please go ahead. It's your right to do so. But what I would say at the end of the day, and my response at the end of the day, is that there's nothing wrong. And this is for all the people in here that want to own a business, which I hope is going to be everybody. Everybody in here at some point should learn how to start a business, because that white man might not want to hire you anymore. He may not give you the job you want. If you ever want to start a business, there is nothing wrong with selling a product. Stop letting Black people believe that it is a crime to run a profitable business. The success is not something you should feel guilty about. You should not feel embarrassed because you're winning. Right? And that's what happens. You get that guilt trip. Like you go back and you see your boys and they looking at you like, oh man, you act like you better than us and you bougie now because no, don't be ashamed of your success. The only thing you want to make sure of is that if you take money from a customer, if you allow them to give you their money, that they're happy with what they got, that they are satisfied with what they purchased from you. And if you have that, if they're happy that they engaged in the trade with you, then there's nothing else to talk about, right? So, the thing that I sort of would say to people is, No, don't ever buy from me just because you like me. Buy from me because the transaction benefits you. If you sign up for a class, don't ask like, okay, whether or not I'm happy with the purchase depends on whether how I feel about Boyce. No, you should base it on whether or not it gives you what you are looking for, if it helps you achieve the goal that you have. Like if your goal, like if you sign up for our Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program, we have almost 10,000 children in this program. And we do surveys to make sure parents are happy. So if you sign up for the program and you try to teach your child about wealth building, and I say, hey, if your child goes through all the modules, they're going to have a financial literacy level that exceeds most college educated adults. And if you don't agree, then you should come back and get your money back. You should say, no, this didn't give me what I was looking for. And so that's where we got to kind of let go of this whole like idea of like, I'll do business with you if I like you, or if I don't like you, then fuck you. You know, like that's kind of weird to me, and that's not how economic competition works. You know, when I went to the University of Kentucky and Ohio State University, let me tell you this: when I got my PhD at Ohio State University, most of those faculty members that work with me were racist. There were a whole lot of racist people in my department that work with me every day. But do I care if they like me or not? No. All I cared about was, look, can I get this degree? And is this degree gonna help me get a job, help me get the job I want? At that time, I didn't know, I wasn't really thinking as much about entrepreneurship. I only knew getting jobs. So I was like, can this degree help me get what I want? If the answer is yes, then I'm here. I'm not gonna be like, look, I'm gonna destroy everything that I got going on, and I'm gonna pass up opportunities because I don't like you or because I need you to like me. This idea of needing people to like you, you need to let that shit go. I mean, Black people, seriously, stop worrying about whether or not the world likes you. Here's a news flash. Here's a memo. You need to go ahead and just write this down, take notes, pull out your SpongeBob ink pen, and take notes on this. Don't nobody like you. I mean, when you are Black, especially if you're a Black man, nobody likes you. Nobody likes you. So stop worrying about whether or not somebody likes you, or whether you like them. Focus on whether or not you can do business and accomplish your goal. There was a time where I would have gladly, if Umar Johnson, for example, had picked up the phone and called me and said, "Hey, Boyce, I know I think you're a son of a bitch, and I don't believe none of the shit you say, and I think you're an asshole, but I want to do business with you." At that time, back when I believed in what he was doing, because I used to say it all the time, I used to be like, man, I don't like that guy. I think some of that stuff at that school is kind of shady, but he's really smart. He's really a good speaker, and he's got a lot. He's actually a smart guy. He has a lot of good ideas. I would have gladly worked with him. I'd have been like, okay, well, well, who cares? Emotional stuff, that's for little girls. Like, that's not something I'm going to carry around, right? So I think that we have to kind of be able to do that. We have to kind of grow up, and I think that what you have on the internet, unfortunately, is when you have a lot of people that are talking a lot on the internet, you have a lot of immaturity. You have a lot of people that really just aren't really doing. I mean, the only people I can think of that are on the web that talk a lot, who are doing business like adults, would be somebody like Tariq Nasheed. Honestly, Tariq, I've done business with Tariq. I partnered with him on Hidden Colors. I was in the movie. I did it for free. That's why I don't understand people that don't work for free. Like, when Tariq told me to be in, or asked me to be in Hidden Colors, I was like, yes, I'll be glad to do it, because I knew that Hidden Colors is a great movie and I respect the project. So I didn't ask him for anything. Now he did, though, just out of respect. He wrote me a check for $500, and after it was done, I said, let's make a deal. Let's talk about how I can help you and partner with you as another Black man to distribute your film to a broader audience. So he had his other audiences all around the world, but we added ourselves into that coalition. I partnered with guys like Jay Morrison. Jay Morrison is starting the Tulsa Fund, where he's going to raise millions of dollars to go buy property all around the globe so we can really buy up the block. I'm talking about really do grown man shit, not this like yip yapping, and tearing down what other people are doing. No, we're going to actually do things that are going to be very impactful, that are going to change people's lives, give people places to live. Maybe the next Black Panther movie could be financed by Black people in 5-10 years, right? Because we've raised $50 million to finance a movie of that caliber, right? I believe that's possible. And so I partnered with Jay on stuff like that. I partnered with Michael Imhotep at the African History Network. I partnered with Lamar Tyler over at Black and Married with Kids. I partnered with Zaza Ali. Zaza and I have done extensive amounts of business. I partnered with Shaquita Graham. There's a lot of people that I'm always looking for ways to work with other Black people, because the thing is that if you understand economic theory, you understand the importance of these partnerships and coalitions. You got to understand that economic power is not something you can build when you have a lot of one-offs. When every individual is fighting with every other individual, then you just have a bunch of individuals who ain't got nothing. You know, when every man is fighting every woman's fighting every man, then you have a bunch of people that ain't even got a tribe to go to. So what happens is you end up scrambling because all y'all got to go work for the white man that's sponsoring you. You all have to go find a sponsor. That's what families do. Think about this. I want you to process this. I want you to process this. You have a family of 4 people. All of y'all went to college. All of y'all got degrees. One of y'all got a degree in engineering. Another person went to culinary art school. Another one is a lawyer. Another one is a doctor. You all get up in the morning. You get together, drink some coffee, and eat breakfast, and then you say goodbye, and everybody disperses. Everybody disperses and goes, and I'm gonna go work for the white guy across town. I'm gonna work for this white guy on this side of town. I'm working for that factory over here. And all of you, over the course of your life, are going to give about 2,000 hours of labor per year, which if it's valued at say, $20 an hour, that's about $40,000 a year that you're donating to white supremacy, right? And then over the course of a decade, that's 20,000 hours. If I have a 40-year working career, that's 80,000 hours of labor that each of you is committing to developing institutions that are racist and white supremacist. What if those 4 children have been raised in a different environment? What if they have been raised by parents who said, family is your first institution? Your greatest amount of energy should be put into your family. You don't give the white man the best of you and then give your family what's left. You give your family the best of you and then you give other people what's left, right? So what if they've been raised in that environment? What that would mean is that the lawyer and the doctor would be thinking like, okay, you know what? We all took this entrepreneurship class together. Right now, we got to go work for other people, but every Sunday, let's get together and have a meeting and talk about ways that we can find a way to integrate the best of ourselves with each other. Like right now, I got to go work at this law firm that's got 300 lawyers and only 2 of them are Black. I'm going to do that for now to get capital. But the whole time I'm taking a class on entrepreneurship. I'm constantly reading books on starting businesses so I can smell opportunities, so I can see possibilities, right? And what that means is that when I sit down with you, every time I talk to you, we're going to get a little closer to the formula. You see, when I was trying to get off the plantation and figure out how to be free from those horrible racist people, I was always looking for the formula. I was like, what's the formula? Almost like trying to make an engine run on its own. Or you ever like push a car and you keep turning the pumping the gas and turning the ignition to try to get the car to run on its own. I was looking for the economic formula. Like what's going to help me get to the point where I can walk away from these people? Because if I stay here, it's going to drive me crazy. So you get together with family. And the only thing was I didn't have as much family. I did have my brother though. My brother's been working with me for many years. And my cousin works with me too. But you're looking for the formula. So you think you're meeting every week and you're talking it through. You're listening to entrepreneurship podcasts. You're taking classes online, which are better than classes in universities, because universities train you to go work for other people most of the time. They don't train you to build things on your own. Even HBCUs are more likely to brag about how many Black people they've sent to go work for white people than they are to brag about how many Black people have actually built independent empires. Like Howard University should be bragging about Sharif Abdul Malik before they brag about anybody else. He should be above even people, graduates like Diddy and others, because Sharif built an amazing business, WeBuyBlack.com, with his damn bare hands at the age of 22, 23, 24 years old. I mean, that to me is that's the future. The Black guy who got the job at JP Morgan, so what, man? Seriously, like you got a job. Like, why do we think a Negro with a job is like the greatest achievement of all time? Like that ain't Black history. That's nice. That's Black survival. That's the key. Like you're really trained. Unfortunately, a lot of environments we're trained to just kind of survive and get by and ride through the struggle. We're not really trained to figure out like what's the real power move. And I think that this movie, The Black Panther, I think could be a start to get people to think in that direction. I was watching the Black Panther cartoon on BET. I'm literally swaying to different topics. Now I'm gonna go back to the family with the lawyers and all that in a minute, but I'm just swaying right now because I think this is valuable stuff. I'm really feeling I'm feeling this, so I'm going to keep going. Um, I was watching the Black Panther cartoon, and I was like, okay, let me find out about this story. Now of course, again, the story's not black owned. The company's Marvel, Disney, all that. So I've just told people go buy some Disney stock. That way you feel a little bit better about giving all your money to white people. And anyway, I was really fascinated with this nation, Wakanda. I think it's called Wakanda. I was so fascinated. Here you had, I don't know who came up with this shit, but I said, my God bless the white man who wrote this shit down. Like, seriously, because Wakanda is a country in Africa. If you're on Instagram, you're gonna disappear in a minute. But if you disappear, just stay right there. I'm gonna bring you back. Wakanda is this country in Africa where they've never been invaded by any European force. White folks have tried to come and take over. They can't. And the reason that they can't invade is because the Wakanda people have been trained at the highest levels on military tactics. They also they're very smart, they're very innovative, they're very sovereign. They built weaponry that white people have never seen before. They got the Black Panther, who was like the greatest warrior like in the world, you know, and in fact, they have the scene starts off with the Black Panther whooping Captain America's ass, right? And I'm just thinking, this is so cool, right? And so really, I think that, and what it reminded me of also was Coming to America. Remember how everybody felt so proud when you saw King Jaffe and Eddie Murphy and the Prince and all this wealth and all this power. It kind of reminded me of that. And I think it says a lot about Hollywood when you have to wait 30 years to see another movie like that. But anyway, let me see. Let me I pull up images just so we can like reflect together and reminisce. Cause I really felt good. Like when I think about what Coming to America really did for the black psyche, I give Eddie Murphy a lot of credit. I don't. I mean, he ain't perfect, but Eddie actually did a lot as a filmmaker. You see like King Jaffe with the big lion. I don't know what the hell lion scarf, lion mane. I don't know what that thing would be called, but it's cool as hell, right? And he comes in, his face is on the money. Of course, you have the funny stuff like sexual chocolate and stuff like that. But ultimately, I think it's kind of cool that you have this movie that is so built on black pride and black sovereignty. And if you want to kind of know sort of what one of my little secret fantasies are when it comes to what I would love to see for the community is I kind of like the whole image of Wakanda because economics is the same way. When it comes to economics, who was it? Samuel Adams once said that there's two ways to enslave a country. He said either you enslave them by the sword or you enslave them with economics and debt. And so black people are conquered and enslaved economically. Most of y'all, a lot of us don't work for black people. A lot of us don't own the place that we live in. A lot of us keep white businesses afloat by buying consumer products we don't need. So basically the same way everybody was trying to invade Wakanda because Wakanda had access to some natural resource. There are people constantly trying to invade the black community. They invaded you and they stole hip hop from you. They invade you, they steal your culture on a regular basis. They invade you, they took your best athletes to go play in the NCAA and give all this money to big white universities. They invade you to build wealth for the prison industrial complex. The list kind of goes on and on. They've invaded you and stolen your music pretty much from every genre. And so we, in a way, are kind of the opposite of what that country is in the movie The Black Panther. We've been invaded, but we can't fight back in the invasion. So ask yourself, again, I know this is all, it's a movie, it's a concept, right? But there are countries like that where people try to invade them and they can't do it. So what's the difference between a country that can withstand an invasion versus a country that can't? Well, if you watch the Black Panther story, which I think it's a great story, they talk about the fact that the Wakanda people are warriors at the highest levels. They train all their children, girls and boys, to fight and to defend Wakanda and the sovereignty of Wakanda. And so what I visualize, my little, fantasy is, I would love to see, black people form our own version of that except instead of just physical warriors, have our children be economic warriors. But there's ways that you can train babies that so that they can defend the family at all costs economically. There's an economic power and sovereignty that comes from basic, financial literacy, so that you don't ever become victimized or conquered by predatory lending. Predatory lending only typically works against people who are not economically educated. Most people can avoid a predatory loan with a class that probably takes you less than 3 hours to complete. But unfortunately, most people are not trained even on the basic level of economic self-defense. That's why one of the lectures that I did in the Black Business School was called The Rules of Economic Self-Defense, because people try to conquer you all the time. In industry, corporations, they will constantly try to conquer you economically, right? So what else? If you have children that where wealth is built for them. So when you build wealth for the child, meaning you start making investments for that baby before the baby's born, then by the time the baby becomes an adult, the baby not only has economic intelligence, but they have economic resources. So that's like basically training your child to be a warrior where they know how to use a weapon and you give them the best weaponry available. See, it's hard to be a warrior if you don't have the weapons, but you know how to use it. You're like, well, I know how to fight with a gun and a sword, but I can't get a gun and a sword. Well, your money is kind of your gun and your sword. And then your economic intelligence becomes your mastery of how to use that weapon to defend yourself. So ultimately, when I talk to people about how you should raise your daughters, I point out the fact that there are millions of women right now who are economically enslaved by some horrible man who is able to mistreat them because he knows that you can't pay your bills by yourself. Because he knows that if he puts you out or he ends the relationship, you're going to be stuck. So what that leads me to say to their parents is, why wouldn't you want your daughter to take a class in economic self-defense? Why wouldn't you want your daughter to be economically intelligent? Why wouldn't you want your daughter to have her own money? Why wouldn't you want your daughter to know how to go and make a dollar if she's got to, without having to serve a man in order to get access to that money? But instead, we raise these little girls that want to become reality TV stars, and they don't understand how many of these reality TV stars get raped, mistreated, abused, infected with STDs, put through all kinds of heartache, everything else. They don't talk about that side of reality TV. They only see the glamorous side. So my thinking is like that the Black Panther movie inspires me, actually. Like I'm actually looking forward to seeing it. I don't know any of the people that are in the movie personally, but I do know people who know those people. And I'm really happy for the director, Ryan Coogler. He seems like a cool guy. I like the guy, what's his name? The guy that was in Creed, Michael B. Jordan. I think they're all great, very talented, and I think that they're really doing something different. I think that the next goal, in my opinion, should be to say, how do we make a movie like that where it's completely financed and distributed by Black people? I believe that it can be done. I think that Tariq Nasheed showed that it could be done when he had his success with Hidden Colors. I think that with digital technology, we have access to great distribution channels. I believe that if all the celebrities who are in the film use social media as a pathway for distribution of the film, that the film could be incredibly successful online. If Paramount Pictures can do it, you can do it. If Netflix can do it, you can do it. You got too many powerful Black people in Hollywood for them not to be able to finance, produce, and distribute their own 50 million, 80 million, $100 million film. I just believe that. So anyway, let me go in and hop in here. I'm about to go drink some tea for my throat because I'm about to do a Q&A with my students in the Black Business School. If you haven't joined the Black Business School, feel free. You can join for free. You can go to theblackbusinessschool.com. That's theblackbusinessschool.com. Let's see here. Okay, let's see here. You sound so dumb. You have no clue how investing works. Okay, all right. Looks like that's a troll. Good for you, Alicia. Go get a job, girl. Go find something to do. Find some grown-up stuff. Your kids probably need the diapers changed with your ratchet butt. Let's see, Hassan. How much is Disney stock going for? I think it's a little over $100. Latoya, we need our own judicial system, governments. That's going to take a while to build, but it's doable. Lindsay says Yvette seems defensive all the time to me. I don't know. I don't watch Yvette's videos, so I can't really speak on that for sure. Yvette's not a stupid person. I think if you want to check out her stuff, I'm not going to tell you not to do that. I don't hate her. I just think that some of the stuff is just not true. Let's see here. Lindsay, let's see. Okay, I already said that, the Disney thing. Houston says we're about to take hip hop back. I don't know if we can. I think that we can control part of the hip hop though. Donna says I watched that video. Ain't nothing nice. I agree. The video sucked. I'm in 100% agreement with you on that. All I can say is that I've been doing this for 10 years, every single day for about a decade. So there's literally 10,000 other videos to go look at as well. So I encourage you to, if you really want to understand everything, then go look at all the stuff. But at the same time, if you want to, if you want to believe something negative, then that's fine. I mean, it's up to you. Dwayne said, so you want to start a legitimate Black community inside or outside of America? I think we should do both. There's a lot of inexpensive land in other countries, and that's one of the things we've actually thought about trying to do. We just can't do everything at once, but we're about to sign the lease on our office in Philadelphia, and we're going to actually run a Black business school location in Philly, but then we're going to also put locations in LA, Chicago, Atlanta, and New York, and that's pretty much our plan for the next year and a half. Hive says, I'll buy stock and wait until Black Panther to come on demand. Yeah, I can't take it. It's fine. I agree. Let's see here. Reginald says Boyce didn't take people's money and not provide a service, so not the same. I agree. I mean, it's not the same as me collect. If you look back, I've never collected donations to like build a school that didn't get built. I've never done anything like that. I don't, and really, basically, I never wanted to even ask for any money for anything, but I had to do that because when you employ Black people that have children that they have to feed, you have to charge something or they can't feed their kids. So basically, our rule in the Black Business School, which I encourage you to go check it out so you can just see for yourself. Our rule in the Black Business School is that if a customer's not happy with what they paid for, then they should get a refund, right? So we have a 30-day, 100% refund policy. Also, most of our programs have a 30-day free trial. So if you want to try out my Black Stock Market class, you can go to the Black Stock Market program. You can try it out for free for 30 days, and there's a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. So you literally have 60 days to decide if you think that I'm full of it or not. I am confident and comfortable in saying to you that I believe this class will be better. This program is better than any college class that you've ever taken. I can break down investing from top to bottom, front to back. We do it in ways that are culturally relevant for Black people, in ways that are affordable to anybody who can get their hair done. I think we've revolutionized the way education can be administered. So if you want to give it a try, again, I can't control the flow of any rumors or information or whatever people think that they have. All I can say is that, if there's something that you've heard about the Black Business School, just go log in for free and join for free and then try to see if it's true. And if you think that we're full of crap, then my God, like hang us over the rails, like throw us, like tar and feather us in the middle of town. But if you want to be logical and intelligent about it, then you would understand that the importance of making sure that there aren't people that are just throwing mud because they see something strong in Black and they want to automatically destroy it. And that's the challenge you run into. We have 57,000 students, and we're very, very proud of that. We built a university. We're educating thousands and thousands of Black people. You can't criticize that. The education we're providing is real education. We have PhDs like Dr. Venetia Dutra. We have attorneys like Attorney Tanya Nebo, people like Warren Ballantyne. We're about to sign a deal with Dr. Claude Anderson to be one of our faculty. What we are teaching is revolutionary, powerful, accurate, and impactful in the sense that it gets you away from these pie in the sky economic models that you've heard from Black folks in the past. Like, give money to my church and I'm gonna start a building fund. Like, I'm tired of hearing all that. It doesn't mean it's not, maybe you really are gonna build the building. I'm not saying you're not gonna do that, but like what's really gonna come out of this? Or everybody send me $10 and I'm gonna build the greatest school in the world. Like, no, I don't want to collect your money to go build something that, like a school that isn't gonna ever be built. I'd rather say, here's something that is affordable, that will cost you less than a pair of shoes, but will change your life forever. And if you don't like it, just reach back out and we will give you a refund. We have a full support team that does that. There's nothing more I can say at that point, right? So anybody who feels the need to be petty and say, oh well, I don't want to be educated, or I don't want to learn wealth building because I don't like this guy. I think you're missing the point. The movement, the Black economic empowerment movement, is not about one person. Um, it's not about one messiah. It's about millions of people individually doing what is best for their families and for their children. If you really want to understand, hey Victoria, how you doing? Good to see you, sister. If you ever really want to understand why you're behind economically, it's because you get distracted on nonsense. Like seriously, there are white folks out here that are building rocket ships to go to Mars. They're trying to figure out how to mine asteroids and make billions of dollars by putting mining facilities on an asteroid so they can pull out all the diamonds and the gold and silver on the asteroid. And y'all are debating over Beyonce's twins, or whether or not you think that what an Asian guy said about Boyce is good or bad. Like, man, fuck that. Like, grow up. Seriously. Like people that I know that are doing really adult stuff are focused on their families. So what I'm trying to say to you is something that you can't deny. You can't fight back what I'm saying to you, which is educate your kids. Read a book. Focus on building something. Learn how to develop a company so that your daughter ain't out tricking in 10 years because her mama was trolling on the internet instead of educating her and preparing her for life. Get your son ready so that when that little son of a bitch gets out here and starts messing with these girls and making babies, he ain't like these guys I know who are crying because they can't pay their child support. Seriously. So that's it. That's all I gotta say. Roger says he is an Yvette Carnell lover. I hope he's not. You're not talking about me. Yvette don't date guys. She dates women. But are you talking about me? I don't think he's talking about me. He's talking about somebody. Okay, somebody that loves Yvette. Yeah, well, that is what it is. Let's see here. Derek, can you share the link again for the Black Stock Market training? Yes. Let me put it in here. It's theblackstockmarketprogram.com. Theblackstockmarketprogram.com. You can join for free, and feel free to hop in and take a look. And I think you're gonna like it. But then that's not the only thing we're doing. We're doing a lot of stuff. And if you don't have any, again, the first month is totally free, so you don't have to spend anything to join that program. But also, if you just want to be in the Black Business School and not pay anything, you can actually do that for free. Go to theblackbusinessschool.com. That's theblackbusinessschool.com. All right. Okay, so I'm done talking. Like, I'm gonna actually meet my students for a Q&A now. I'll go ahead and live stream that as well, so you guys can kind of check that out if you want to. If you want to come to facebook.com/Dr. Boyce Watkins, we'll get started in the next couple of minutes. But if you want to know why I was talking this morning, it was because certain things were on my spirit, and I tend to want to just be open about how I feel and what I'm thinking, right? And sometimes it may not be the best strategic move because people, always talk about strategy and, oh, well, if they're trying to smear you, you should do this and do that and play your cards like this. And at the end of the day, I'm a believer in trusting my instincts. And my instinct said, no, I talk to the people, and that's what I'm gonna do. Like, I'm just gonna talk, and then, because here's the thing, and this is what everybody's got to understand. Like, if somebody just decides that they hate you, they're going to hate you no matter what comes out of your mouth. Like, it's like that's how politics is in America right now. There's literally nothing. Donald Trump could literally say, I'm going to write a check for $1 million a piece to 1 million Black people, and there will be Black people, because they love the Democrats or whatever, they will criticize that, right? Or Barack Obama could say, somebody could say, well, there's evidence that Barack Obama, raped 5 innocent puppies on video, right? And there would be people that still just wouldn't believe it because they refuse to believe anything negative about Barack Obama, and they refuse to believe anything positive about Donald Trump. But then on the other side, there are people who refuse to believe anything negative about Donald Trump, and they refuse to believe anything positive about Barack Obama. And that's the world that we live in now. And so, you know, the way to kind of survive in that world, I would say, is don't, if you do something in your public, don't make it about you. Like, don't attach your ego to whether or not people like you, because eventually there will be some people who just don't like you. Attach yourself to an issue, something that matters, and roll with the punches after that. And then last but not least, whatever your vision is, don't pay attention to what negative people say. Anything that you do that's great, you're going to have critics. One of the greatest signs that you've actually had an impact is that people will take time out of their busy day to come and tell you how much they hate what you're doing. That means that they notice what you're doing and that what you're doing is having an impact on the world. So, oh gosh, my cough. So that's my 2 cents on it. So whether trolls know this or not, when you come to my page and you take time out of your day to troll me, just understand I'm not on your page trolling you because I've got something more important to do. I'm spending more time building than I spend destroying. But when somebody takes time to troll you, time to throw darts at you, time to talk about you, they're giving more and more power to what you're doing. They're drawing more attention to it. And I welcome that attention because I'm very proud of what we built. I'm very proud of the fact that I believe that myself and the group of PhDs and attorneys that I work with have done something that has rarely been done in all of Black history. So, oh gosh. So if you aren't clear about it, go check it out. I'm gonna hang up because I'm coughing too much. But have a good day, guys, and I'll talk to you in a little bit. Be good. Peace.